This woman, Valerie Kaur, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, but she has developed and runs an organization called the Revolutionary Love Project, which, anyone who has an organization called the Revolutionary Love Project, I already want to be friendly with. So that's just kind of great. Um, but with the challenges that are happening all around the world, I think it's just so easy for us to shrink and get narrow-minded and narrow-hearted for self-protection. And suffering causes us to constrict. It's just one of those things that happens to us. And I think it's really important for us to remember to expand our courageous heart into that sense of being able um, to put love first. And this is a quote by Valerie Kaur. So if you ever want to look her up, the Revolutionary Love Project, very inspiring. When suffering constricts the heart, awe stretches it back out. When suffering constricts the heart, awe stretches it back out, making us more compassionate, more loving, more present. So, you know, sometimes it's nice to have just a little quick thing, just like we know that when we feel anxious, one of the quick little things we can do is elongate the exhale. So sometimes it's nice to have just a quick little thing that we can just always keep right in our pocket to pull out when we need it. And I think this is one of those. When suffering constricts the heart, awe stretches it back out, making us more compassionate, more loving, more present. So seek awe, and it could be watching a baby, could be looking at nature, it could be reading something inspirational, remembering how much love there is in the world, watching an episode of Planet Earth and seeing the incredibleness of our planet. Any little thing that can be awe inspiring for you, something that brings you into awe. Um, Try to remember to have those things in your back pocket so that when you feel the constriction around your heart, we can have these small ways of reminding us how interwoven we all are and interconnected we all are. So the other thing that in a yoga practice is back bends, right? So when we feel that constriction and we feel this kind of internal sinking, we can remember to use our practice to keep us afloat. All right, so go ahead and sit up straight and tall when you're ready. Take a moment to close your eyes and drop your awareness and your attention back in to the body. Feel your way into a state of being aware of your breath. And take a moment to check in. How are you? How is your body today? Have you been tending to your body, or have you spent some time, not really focused on caring for self? Has your attention been elsewhere? And as you come home to yourself in this moment, just take notice. How's your breath? Are there any places in your body that you need to particularly open or nourish today? Is there any part of you that you need to kind of invite back into the fold? Have you banished a part of yourself in any way? And how's the state of your mind, your emotions? Are you feeling steady? Are you feeling rocky? What is the state of affairs? When you do this check-in with self through these koshas of your being, your physical body, your energy body, your mental body, all the ways in which we integrate the parts of ourselves. What's arising? What are you coming up with? What are you noticing? And see what you can do to pay attention through your practice to what you are sensing. What are you noticing that you need? And regardless of what I throw out into the practice, recognize that your yoga practice travels with you through the journey. So pick and choose what you want, follow your own stream in your practice. Let's just take a couple of very deep, full inhales, inflate all your lungs. Get into every little teeny nook and cranny with that inflation. And then kind of forcefully push your air out. We'll do this twice more. A very big, exaggerated inhale, and force your exhale out. Be through your nose or your mouth on that exhale. One more time. A very big, exaggerated breath, both on the inhale and on the exhale. And just return to some normal breathing. Notice if you have a little change in the chemistry in your brain. Notice if you've just opened up a gate, where your breath is now a little more available, a little more free. You don't have to continue with that hyper voluminous breath, but just open the gates for breathing today. Place your hands together at your heart and bring yourself into attention, awareness, present moment awareness. Offer up an intention here for yourself. Maybe there's words attached, maybe it's a sensation. What is it that you're creating? Release your hands. And let's find our way onto your back. So as you stretch out and lengthen, just notice, just messing with my computer here. There you go. Notice what's available in your body right now. And remember that we're just here, right? There's no rules of what you should or shouldn't do or what you could or couldn't do, but the best yoga practice is one where you follow the intuition of your mind body. So who cares what I do? You don't have to follow me, and you're welcome to follow me. Sometimes just having someone to kind of shine a little light down the path is all you need. So stretch your arms overhead and feel that beautiful reaching, maybe the right side, maybe the left side, and get your shoulders kind of move a bit, feeling your hips and your side bodies open up a little bit, and try not to be still. Reach with one side, reach with the other side, so you feel like you're opening up through your armpits and your ribs a bit. And then draw your knees into your chest and just relax into that bit of a forward bend here, just bending the knees in, a little rocking. Check in with your low back. How are you? All right, and then hang on to your knees and let's circle a little bit, circling one direction. And then circling another direction. Then circling a third direction and drawing your knees in and reaching them back out and just noticing how your hips and your back just loosening and warming things up. Let's draw your right knee in, give it a good squeeze and then get a good roll through your ankles. Say hello to your feet, give them a good wiggle. And switch sides, left knee and right leg long on the ground, and feel your way into a good moving about in your toes, spread up the bones of your feet. And then let's kind of move through those passes a little faster. So right knee in and then left knee in. And don't forget to stretch the opposite leg straight. Sometimes as we go back and forth between our two sides, we can focus just on hugging our knee in. But remember to feel the extension. It's part of this warming up is extending the leg, not just flexing. How's that breath? You have just enough volume in there. It doesn't have to be super volume. Try not to restrict or restrain the breath.
and then star your body out. Limbs wide, feeling into your fingers and toes, and have a good stretch out there. Then as you exhale, knees into your chest, pick up your head, let your back round a bit. One more time, feeling that expansive star on the ground, and then exhale, drawing the knees in, head comes up. Put your feet down, hip width apart, maybe wider, your choice. Arms out to the sides. Let's just windshield wiper our knees left and right. Opening up a teeny bit through the chest. We're going to get a little more so here. Feeling your spine have a little rotation in it, warming up a lot of those muscles. All right, and then put back to neutral with your pelvis. Have your feet hip width apart. Lift your hips up and give them a good shake. Okay. Like a low bridge, just enough to get your hips off the ground and just give everything a good shake. All right, and then release your hips back down. We're going to press the four corners of your feet firmly into the ground. Lift your hips a little higher. Arms are down at your sides, feeling that bridge. And then lower your pelvis down. You can always bring your arms up overhead if you want through these passes of bridges. Ground the four corners of your feet, lifting the hips up, feeling your leg muscles turn on a little bit, and then releasing your pelvis back down. One more time, hips coming up. Pause your breath and lowering your legs back down, hips back down. All right, let's take a little bit deeper of a twist here. Come rolling onto your right side, palms together, knees together, ankles together, right angles with your legs. Take a deep breath in, open up across your chest, reach that left hand behind you, turn your head back, and then exhale, palms coming back together. So we'll open the book, arm coming up, spreading open your chest, and then closing the book, bringing that left hand back. One more time. Finding a big twist open here, letting the back warm to the twisting, and then bringing your hand back to center. Come back to neutral, roll over to the other side. We're going to have our palms together, our knees together, our ankles together. Deep breath in, open up into the twist, right hand behind you, touch the ground, turn your head, and then exhale and come back, palms together. One more time, stretching open into the twist, put that hand behind you on the ground, then exhale and bring your palms back together. One more time, feeling your breath as you move, open into that rolling twist, and then exhale, palms come back together. Come back onto your back. Ground the four corners of your feet. Lift your hips up and give them a shake. And see if you can get that shake to kind of shimmy all the way to your shoulders. And then lower your pelvis back down onto the ground. We're going to warm up our SI joints, our hips a little bit. Feel the four corners of your feet. We're going to do some different directional bridges. So right hip lifts up, follow with the left hip. Lower the right hip down first, follow with the left. So a little bit of, changing movement of the pelvis. Just do maybe 3 or 4 rounds of lifting that right hip up, follow with the left, drop the right hip down, following with the left. Kind of getting some availability and some awareness into our psoas muscles, our hip flexors, as well as recognizing the two halves of the pelvis that, a lot of times we feel our pelvis as one thing, but really we have these two sides of the pelvis that join at the pubic symphysis and join at the sacroiliac joints. Come down and rest your pelvis on the ground. Regroup, feel the grounding of the four corners of your feet, and then we'll go the other way. Lifting the left hip, follow with the right, dropping the left hip down, follow by the right. All right, so just a little bit of a gyration through your pelvis, feeling that you can sense that there's two halves of you that kind of relate with the femur bones. Notice how your femur bones, when you lift your left hip up, you might notice that your femur bone stretches toward your knee. So just kind of sense into what else moves besides just lifting one hip up. Maybe you might notice a little bit of twisting in your spine. All right, and then pause for a moment. Put the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides for a moment of Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring your hands and place them low on your belly so you can feel your breath travel down your body. Feel how the shape of your low belly changes when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Again, let's try one more voluminous breath while we're here and just notice what inflates, what grows in size when you inhale, and what narrows, shrinks, softens, surrenders on the exhale. And then bring your knees back toward each other. Bring your knees into your chest. A little bit of a rock here. Just feeling a little sway until your pelvis, your SI joints, your hip joints just start to feel a little more neutral. So rock until that happens. And then when you're ready, roll to your side and come up to your hands and knees. So remember that your yoga practice doesn't have to be forceful. It doesn't have to be aggressive in any way. That we're really just trying to make friends with all parts of us, mind and body. So arching the back, rounding the spine, taking notice what moves easily and well, and maybe what doesn't work, or not work, but what doesn't open or move so easily and well. So just pay attention to the parts of your body that are very mobile and that maybe aren't as mobile. No rights or wrongs, just paying attention to what you're experiencing. All right, and then have a moment to wag your tail. And feel like you're a happy dog, giving a good little tail wag. Maybe it translates to a neck wag. And then come to a neutral spine, and we're going to do some rib cage rolling. So just like we did some pelvic rolling, we're now going to roll through our ribs. So move your ribs out to the right and down toward the ground, and then out to the left and then up toward the sky. And just feel like you're inside a tube and you want to paint the whole inside edge of the tube. So as much surface area of your rib cage spreading out as possible. How is your breath? Is your tendency in this to just hold your breath and do the movement? See if you can breathe your way into this movement. A lot of times when we have that sense of feeling stuck, emotionally stuck, a little rigid from not knowing how to react to the circumstances of our lives, sometimes just getting it free and mobile can help us create movement in all ways. All right, now let's change directions. Left ribs out to the side, down toward the earth, over to the right, up toward the sky. All right, so notice if this pattern feels more familiar, less familiar. Remember, let's try to spread the surface area of our rib cage. Try to just loosen any little nook and cranny for the breath to travel. All right. Relax back towards child's pose. Take your hips back toward the heels. Walk the hands forward. Stretch those shoulders again. Feeling your hands inchworm as far forward as they will go. Big breath down the spine. Let's open up the side bodies another way. So walking over to the left, feeling the reach of your sit bones down toward the ground, opening up through the side. Let the base of your skull relax. Full breaths here. Coming back to center, walk the hands over to the other side. Feeling the drop of your sit bones, the base of your skull relaxes. Open up with the breath. Okay, coming back to center. Curl your toes under, stretch back towards child's pose with curled over feet so that the Achilles open, the Achilles start to open, the bottom of the feet open. And then come back, give your feet a little tap on the ground, and let's lift to dog pose. Feeling that open body. All right, so take some time pedaling your feet. We're now waking up the rest of our body too. So dropping one heel, dropping the other heel. Enjoy, feel all the little bits of your foot and your Achilles and your calves open up. Once you have a few passes of enjoying that sensation, maybe pay attention higher up. Notice your hips, notice your hamstrings, notice maybe your shoulders are changing shape. And then when you're ready, find the fullness of a dog pose that is a bit more still. Ground through across the base of your finger beds. Feel the root of your thumb beds. Feel the spreading of the bones across your feet. And then ground where you're touching. Anywhere you feel the ground, feel it with your hands, feel it with your feet, and root down. Feel the sinking, and then push off those places to feel the rising tide through your whole body. Voluminous breath again. Both inhale and exhale. Okay, and then when you're ready, walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Remember, you can bend your knees as much as you want or need to. So there's lots of availability to protect your spine in this pose. Shimmy, shake. Inhale for a halfway lift, growing in the spine. Okay, once we have that halfway lift, feel the femur bones stretch back, open up the bottom of your feet, feel the extension in your heart. And exhale, and float forward again. And let's roll up or press up, whatever feels good for your body. We're reaching the arms up high to the sky. Lean back a little bit if it feels good. We're starting to open up through the heart here. Breathing deeply. Let's cactus. Open the arms and feel that big open heart. Give a good squeeze into the back of your body. And then exhale and round in. Forearms come to touch. Again, reaching up high. And then a big swan dive forward. Fold. Bend your knees. A halfway lift. Growing long. Let the breath come out. Fold forward. Relax your neck. Step your left foot back. Come to a lunge. Okay, finding that breath. Place your back knee on the ground. Just open up through the hip flexor a moment. Just feel the front of that back thigh. All right, and then lift your knee off the ground and let's bend and straighten the front knee. Just feeling your way into the awareness of opening different joints, feeling muscle fibers lengthen and stretch. All this giving you a greater sense of presence within your body. Doesn't it feel good to just be aware and open things? It's amazing how we can go so much time through our day, or days even, without paying attention to the body, without being embodied. And it doesn't have to be, giant, huge efforts or long stretches of time. It can be just a few minutes of touching base with yourself. All right, ground into your lunge, reaching your arms up. Maybe you want your arms to be somewhere else. Remember, we're always guided by our own intuition in our practice. Where do you want to be right now? Breathing well, that voluminous breath. Can you fill up? Can you empty out? Let's cactus, open the arms, a good squeeze in the back body here, and then release your hands down at your sides. Reach forward, palms are facing the ground, heads of the arm bones lifting away from the ground. Engage your triceps, lift your floating ribs off your leg, and reach your crown all the way to your back foot. Stabilize with your core. See if you can feel the weight of your front foot push a little deeper. Feel the muscles between your shoulder blades activate. And then release your hands down. Come up
onto that right leg, half splits, feel the extension in your spine here. Let's come up onto your toes of that right foot, keep your hips square, and then slowly descend your right heel without losing the lift of your right hip. Left hip up, heel down, hip up, heel down. Stretch through the crown to the tail. Take a deep breath in as you exhale. Tuck left knee behind right knee or next to, and tuck into that diva squat. Slowly push off that leg, feeling your hamstrings and your glutes turn on. Long spine up onto your toes. Exhale, heel down, knee tucks behind or next to, drop your head. One more time, push straight, all the way up onto your toe. Exhale, Jiva squat. Stay here for a moment. Feel that tucking in, engage your core. Hover off the blocks with your palms if you can. Palms together, arms out to the sides, whatever feels good. Breathing deeply, and then hands back onto blocks. Stretch and lengthen, step all the way back. Crescent lunge one more time. Arms coming up. Feel that extension, open the heart. Hands come down, dog pose. As you feel yourself come back to symmetry, notice how your two sides did different things in your legs. Notice how they feel different. A full voluminous breath in. Let your exhales get long and slow. Come forward into a plank. You can always put your knees down. If your shoulders need some support, you can always take that support. Feel that stability in your core body. Full volumes breath. Notice how the breath goes out to the sides. So even though you're engaging through your core, the breath has to move. Let it move. Find the ground. Couple of shoulder rolls. And then inhale. Cobra pose, big open heart. Exhale. Release back down. One more time. Lifting up to a cobra. Exhale. And relax. Let's pause here for a moment. Stabilize your core. So this doesn't mean that you squeeze your butt cheeks really tight together, but engage your glutes. So they're not passive, but they're not overactive either. Engage your core, floating ribs or lifting into the body. Inhale and hover your hands off the ground in a cobra. Elbows reaching toward your hips. Keep stable through your core and glutes. Keep your neck long. Hug the shoulder blades. Feel the muscles along your spine. Engage. Exhale and release down. Come up onto all fours and move your spine around. Breathing deeply, wag your tail, maybe put those ribs through their tube that they were painting inside of again. And then back toward a child's pose. Settle your hips toward your heels. Grab your blocks. Put your hands on them on the low or middle height of the blocks so that you're in a child's pose with your arms up. Take care to not drop your armpits toward the ground, especially if you're hypermobile in your shoulders. You may want to lift under your armpits and resist that fall. Bring your blocks closer to you on the low height next to each other. You might want to take them against the short edge so that they're longer or width apart from each other. Elbows on the blocks. Stretch back towards child's pose. Take your thumbs toward your spine. Opening up through your triceps. And the same thing applies. If you're very mobile in your shoulders, try not to let your armpits fall toward the ground. A little lift under your armpits. Lengthen your triceps. Stretch elbows to hips.
Okay, come out of that posture, bring your hands back onto the ground, maybe onto the blocks, your choice. We'll bring our left foot forward. Keep down on your right knee, just feel that hip flexor stretch open here. Notice the front of that thigh, ground through the front big toe mound, actually across your entire toe bed. And then we'll lift your back knee up off the ground. Okay, feel into that extension. Let's bend and straighten your front knee. Moving with your breath. Again, just so much gratitude for moving, for being present in the body. Such a beautiful thing our yoga practice is. It can travel our whole life long with us, no matter what our needs are, no matter what our vulnerabilities are, no matter what our mobility is. Our yoga practice can adapt and accommodate whatever is happening to us in our lives. It can be a support, no matter what. Okay, so come into a lunge, ground yourself. You can even keep your back knee on the ground if you need extra support. Inhale, rising up. Do you want your arms up? If so, rise up. Integrate those floating ribs into the body again. Feel the front foot press into the ground. Find your breath. And then let's cactus open the arms here. Feel that spreading of the wings. And then reach your arms back up. Maybe look up, challenge your balance, feel the extension upward toward the sky. And then we're going to reach our arms back behind you, palms facing the ground. Lean your torso forward, engage your triceps, heads of the arm bones lift, feel the back body. Press into the feet, feel your core, floating ribs integrate. Finding your breath, finding that crown to back foot. And then release your hands to your blocks. Hop up onto your left foot. Stabilize with your blocks, especially if you're on the very high height. Be very mindful. They can get a little wobbly, so make sure you're okay. Lift up onto your left toes. The right leg is behind you strongly. Extend your spine. Deep breath in. We're going to slowly lower your left heel. Keep lifting your left hip. Hip up, heel down. Hip up, heel down. Feel that extension. Full breaths here. As you exhale, draw knee next to or behind your other knee and squat. Jiva squat. Inhale, pressing straight. Exhale, drawing in. One more time, pressing straight. This time we'll stay a bit. So as we come down, find your stability, engage your core. Maybe your hands come off the blocks, come out wide or palms together. Maybe one hand on a block, one hand on your heart. Maybe you keep your hands on the blocks. Core is strong, hips are strong. Hands back onto the blocks. Extend your leg. Deep breath in, stretch back. Crescent lunge one more time. Plant your feet before you rise up. Get your ground and find your way. Reaching your arms upward if it feels nice. Extend. And then exhale. Hands down onto the ground. Step your front foot back, dog pose. Full breaths here. Enjoy the contact with the ground. Feel it. Push off of it. Voluminous breath in. Full, long breath out. Come forward into a plank. Teach yourself to still breathe well. Feel your side bodies, like where we were painting our ribs against the inner tube that we were in the beginning. Spread your ribs out to the inside edges of that tube. And then lower yourself down to the ground. Take your arms back behind you, palms facing the ground like we did in crescent lunge earlier. Lift up the upper body, heads of the arm bones, arms lift up off the ground, legs too. Neck is long, feel the fullness of your back body engage. Shoulder blades firm on the back. How's your breath? Exhale and relax. Come up on tall fours. Move your spine around, wiggling your toes, breathing well. Okay.
Let's inhale, reach the left arm up in the air. Exhale, slide that arm under. Gaze toward the ground.
Full breaths here. Feel the shoulder blades open up.
And now reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down. Changing sides. Arm lifting high. Exhale. Sliding arm under. Inhale. Reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. All fours. Move your spine around. Breathing deeply. And we're going to come back to lie on our belly. Okay. Reach behind you and grab your left foot with your right hand. And just stretch your quad here. You can keep your torso low. Pay attention to your tailbone. So we're not squeezing our butt cheeks. Try not to just pull your tailbone toward the ground. Move it toward your knees and then toward the ground. Engage your core. Feel the elongation of your femur bone as you stretch your quads. And then switch sides. Left arm in front, crossing over, reach back with your right hand to grab your right foot. Opening up your quads on this side, tailbone toward the knees. Breathing well. You can keep your head down. You can also lift your head up a little bit, whatever feels good. Reach your whole femur bone. Enjoy your quad stretch. And then relax. One more time, lift to a cobra pose. Stretch through your legs. A big open heart. And then release down. Come up onto all fours. Wag your tail around. Perhaps you move through a dog pose. Perhaps you just come up to stand. Transition how you want. Full breaths here. Breathing deeply. Inhale, come all the way up. Arms coming to the sky. And then bring your hands behind you. Interlace your hands behind your back. Open up across your heart. And depending on what your shoulders are capable of, maybe you stay right here. This is a huge stretch for me just to reach my hands behind my back. But maybe it feels like nothing to you and you lean forward into a forward fold and bring your arms up toward the sky, maybe even over your head. So just find whatever's going to help you open across the fronts of your shoulders. Breathing well. Shoulder blades move toward each other, toward the spine. Relax and find your way out of that pose. Okay? Staying standing, come up if you leaned over, shake out your hands. We're going to stand on our right foot and we're going to bring our left knee high. We're going to tip forward, Virabhadrasana 3. Find your breath. Engage through your glutes. Reach your arms back behind you. Triceps engaged, palms facing the ground. Lift the heads of the arm bones. Engage your core. And then one more time, bringing that knee back up. Palms can come together or up overhead and lower your foot down. Notice what balance poses do for you. You know, this sense of integration and presence, concentration. If your balance is poor, notice if you have attachment, you know, if the ego kind of finds its way into attaching to what your body can and can't do. Lifting your right knee, standing on your left leg. Hug that left hip in, palms together. Focus your gaze, stay in your breath. Reach your arms, palms together rather, to begin. Reach your leg back, Virabhadrasana 3. Tip forward, square hips, integrate your core. Ribs floating, ribs hugging in, and then reach your arms behind you.
Palms facing the ground, triceps engaged, ribs hugging in. Feel your glutes, breathing. The neck is long. And then come back up, bringing that knee, palms together. Put your foot down onto the ground. Notice if you stopped breathing for a moment, if the balance postures kind of took your breath away in any way. And if so, let's take a deep breath in and a full exhale. One more balanced posture. Drop into your right foot. We're going to grab onto your left foot now. Okay. You can always do this holding something if you need a little balance. Just like when we did this posture on the ground, can you feel that your knee is not sticking out? We're dropping the knee toward the ground, the tailbone's moving toward the ground. Inhale, reach your arm up, dancer's pose. Take a deep breath in. Notice your floating ribs. Are they jutting forward? Integrate as best as you can and tip forward into dancer. All right, so find the ease across the base of your skull. Find it across your eyes, squaring the hips and chest. Kick your foot into your hand. Integrate the ribs. How's that standing leg? Can the knee soften a bit? Can you feel the ground? Come back to center. Bring that knee up. Two arms up. And then lower the knee down. Arms down at your sides. Can you just be in awe of what you're doing? So it may seem like simple, like just going along in my yoga practice, but recognize the intense beauty and possibility in the simple act of being able to do this, being able to stand. So let's be in awe of the body in motion, the ability to feel and be present. Can't think of anything more awesome than present moment awareness. Okay, so knee comes up and grab onto your right foot. Okay, if you're feeling wobbly, put your hand on the wall. Try not to hike your hip out. Keep that hip in. Reach the arm up. Dancer pose on your left foot. Kick back. Hips and shoulders stay square to the front. Keep your neck soft. Unlock your knee that you're standing on so you're not pushing it back into a hyperextension. Breathe. As you find your balance, can you reach your hand and your knee away from each other? Can you find that fullness of your breath? Slowly come out your glutes and your hamstrings of that standing leg. Very stable for your body. Reach that knee up, both arms up. Palms to your heart. Place that foot down. Again, how awesome it is to have 2 feet. Full breath, how awesome it is to have the ability to breathe clean, fresh air and to have a full, deep, beautiful breath in and out. Let's savor the simple joys. On your next breath in, rising up and then exhale and floating forward. How's your back feeling? Inhale for a halfway lift. Stretch open those hamstrings and glutes. And exhale and float down. Step back to a plank. Maybe take your foot that you never take back first. Breathe. That voluminous breath on the outskirts of your ribs. Let them go out sideways. Find the ground. All right, so you might want to try this way. We're going to do full Dhanurasana. So you can have a blanket or 2 if you want, or a block. A block is a little, I've done it many times with a block, and I wouldn't recommend that if you just ate. But so you could take 1 blanket, 2 blankets, or a block. And we're gonna put this underneath our bottom ribs. So we're kind of up on a ramp. Okay. All right, so check in with your back. How's it doing? Maybe wag your tail a little bit just to have some ease. And then we're gonna reach back and grab both feet. Now have a strap handy. If you can't reach your feet, you can wrap a strap around your ankles. And hopefully that, shoulder stretch we did earlier is opening up your shoulders enough. And then we're gonna let the blankets or block do some of the work for us as we lift up into our first Dhanurasana. We're gonna do this twice, once with support and once without. Keep the back of the neck long. Breathing well. And then we'll relax and come out of that pose. Come off your blankets or block. On the ground, lift your feet, windshield wiper your feet left and right. Now, of course, you can repeat that, or you can do it with no props, or you can just not do it at all and choose something different. Okay. So we're gonna be, if you're following me, you're gonna be on your belly now on the ground. Reach back and grab your feet. Use a strap around your ankles if you can't reach your feet. Knees stay in line with the hips. Take a deep breath in, lift on up. Head to the arm bones lifting. Feel the muscles along your back support you so you're not just falling into the ground. Tailbone toward the knees. Breathing into the sides. Neck is long. Breathe into your belly too. Let your diaphragm move your body. So much mobility in your diaphragm here. And then relax. Take your hands underneath your forehead, pick up your feet, and windshield wiper your knees. And lay your feet down. Bring your left knee high up toward your armpit. Look at your left knee. Just feeling that little bit of a side bend here. And then we're going to turn this into a twist. So you can take your right arm, cross it over to the left, and we'll twist open onto our, not onto our back all the way, but toward the back. Back of the hand is going to come onto the ground. The back of the head's going to come onto the ground. Let your knee lift off the ground to whatever place you want it. And breathe across the twists. Come back around, changing sides. Lift that right knee toward your armpit. Turn your torso and look at that knee. Breathing well. And then we're going to turn it into a twist. Left arm crosses over to the right. Twist open. The right hand comes down to the back of the hand on the ground. Back of the head's on the ground. Let your right knee leave the ground as much as you need. Let the twist have a bit of a chest opener within it. Full breaths, both in and out. Come back around, come up onto all fours, and let's move your spine around. So that maybe wag your tail, maybe some circles in your pelvis, maybe some circles in your ribs like we did in the beginning. Try to be gentle with your spine and just find its way to freedom, however that shows up for you. We're gonna come into, take your time transitioning, letting your back loosen. We're gonna come into pigeon pose or reverse pigeon pose. So I'm gonna do pigeon pose with a blanket underneath me. Maybe you're on your back and bringing your right foot to your left knee and drawing your knees toward your chest. If you're in pigeon pose, right leg in front. And try not to be like this where you're kind of leaning off to one side. Square the hips as best as you can. Lengthen through your spine. That back leg, keep it in line with your hip instead of sticking out to the side. And lengthen your spine as you come down. You can have a block underneath your head. And if you find that a joint, is unhappy, like you come toward the pose and your knees talking to you a little bit, then maybe you need a little extra height and a little more underneath your hips.
maybe you need to bring your heel closer to your pubic bone instead of out, so you can adjust the angles of your shin. You can adjust the height of your pelvis so that you get comfortable. Try not to have joints talking to you. You can have muscles talking to you and listen and breathe into them and let them, coax your muscles open. But if a joint is revolting, then you need to listen to that revolt and you need to change something. Okay, so joints are not meant to be ignored when they give you feedback. Breathing again, deeply and fully. If your head is resting on something, either the back of your head on the ground or your forehead on a block or maybe on your hands, whatever can be supportive for your forehead, this will give the message to your nervous system that all is well. Full breaths here. Back up. Let's swing that leg around and come to the second side. Maybe you transition differently than that. This side might need something totally different than the other side. Okay, so find your pose, whether you're on your back or on your front. Whatever you're doing, let your body release into it. Remember to pay attention to all your joints, check in with them. You need to adjust anything. Are your hips square and your spine lengthened? Are you able to breathe? Support your head. Out of the posture. Take your time. Let's move your props out of the way. You might need them for Shavasana in a moment. Lie on your back. Bring your knees to your chest for a moment. Grab your strap. Have it handy. Bringing your knees to your chest, letting them be nice and easy. Maybe a little bit of rocking. Perhaps even happy baby pose if that's nice. You want to grab your feet and do a little rocking. What feels good? And we're going to grab the strap and put our feet in it and lift our legs straight up in the air. You can have your legs together, you can have them further apart, whatever feels good. And just feel the elongation of the spine. See if this can just get some freedom in your vertebrae. Sometimes I like to just wag my tail while I'm here. Maybe flex and point your feet while you're here. Maybe do none of that. Let your head get very heavy. Allow your shoulders to relax, so you should have enough give on the strap where you're not yanking your shoulders up off the ground.
Just let your back and the back of your legs and your glutes kind of settle into length. Feel the ground support your spine. Enjoy the symmetry both of your body and of the inhale and exhale. And Shavasana. Maybe you want those blankets and blocks under your knees. Maybe you want to be flat on your back. Maybe you'd like to be curled up on your side. Maybe you'd like to have your legs up on a chair. Maybe you'd like to be in child's pose over a bolster. So there's no right or wrong way to rest. Find what your body wants. What would be comfortable for you right now. Once you find whatever that position is, make sure that you're not distracted by touching things. So push props away. Make sure you're warm. Make sure you don't have a bright light in your eye. And then let your head drop. Whatever position you're in, feel the ease of your skull. Relax through your jaw. Finding the fullness again of your breath. Maybe not so forceful of that volume, but just the completeness of a nice full inhale and a long, stretched out exhale. Breathing well and let your bones melt. Every bit of weight that you can offer the ground, give. Soft, free belly. Our breath again. Enjoy your breath for a moment. Remember throughout the day that sometimes you can just pause and enjoy your breath. You don't have to manipulate the breath. You don't have to ask the breath to give you something, to do something for you. Just enjoy the breath. If we can remember to simplify what gives us a sense of awe. Isn't it awesome that you get to breathe in and breathe out? So many of the things that bring us awe we take for granted. So let that pause to just enjoy the breath. Give you a moment to remember to pause and enjoy the awe of your life. However that shows up for you. Yeah, let's move in any way that serves your body.
To enjoy your movements, transition onto your side. Coming up to a comfortable seat, taking your time. Let's take a moment to enjoy how you feel. How do you feel? How is it different than when you stepped onto your mat? Enjoy your breath again. When you're ready, place your palms together. And as we complete our practice, seal our practice, let's offer this outward flow of energy to one or many others. May there be peace in the world. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.